Welcome, softball and baseball fans. This is 24/7 Diamond Talk. I'm your host, Tomm Richards. This is a new podcast. First of all, I'll explain a little bit about myself. I'm a girl dad, first and foremost. Avid softball fan of the fast pitch game for sure. Former fast pitch player, longtime Peppers coach, and I'm anxious to talk softball with you guys down the road here. And all summer, potentially. And today I'm here with the co-founder of 24/7 Ball Sports, Matt Mangulis. And Matt, why don't you tell us what you envision for this podcast idea?
Yeah. So Mike and I started 24/7 Ball Sports, and we wanted to obviously advertise the 24 Ball Sports facility and business. And so we got into streaming and streaming games and have just done more media, and we've had a lot of fun with the media side. And I just think that there's more room. And now in today's age, it's easy to get out and do a podcast or get on and live stream. We live stream a lot of the games, but we can get out to everybody and kind of carry that message and try to build the sport of baseball and softball. And for our members, we can do a little bit more media and more coverage for those kids and give them more attention. We did a lot of recruiting stuff with my daughter, and so that's still fresh in our memory on how we went through that process. And I think that just getting out in the public and talking about all those things, we can maybe help some others with that and have some fun doing it.
Yeah, you've been doing some traveling lately, following your daughter?
Yeah, we did a little bit. I went to Georgia, University of Georgia. They played the first weekend in Athens. That was really cool. Really nice stadium.
Yeah.
And big stage. It was pretty cool to go there. She got in a few of the games there, got some innings, and that was fun to watch. And then we went to Texas one other time. And this weekend we're going for spring break. They're going down to University of Tennessee and Knoxville and Nashville, playing some teams there.
You going with for that?
Yeah, we're going to follow around for about the week. Yeah, if we're not rained out, looks like it's going to be pretty rainy. So hoping to get some games in.
For those of you that don't know, Matt's daughter, Madison, is a pitcher for University of South Dakota Coyotes, Division I. So,
and the team's actually, I think, a little above 500 right now.
Yeah. Yep, it's a long season.
It is.
Softball.
You know, what's fun about that too, though, there's, from her Peppers days, a lot of the Peppers team that she played on are playing college softball somewhere right now. So it's fun to also follow all the other teams. We got Abby Sterling up at St. Thomas.
Just hit a home run.
Yeah, she's playing. She's doing really well with them. And Addie Bowers over at NDSU was a teammate of my daughter's.
Another Division I pitcher from St. James.
Ryan Fritz. She's doing great at MSU.
Yeah, she's hitting 458 right now for the Mavericks. They're down in Florida right now.
So it's been great to follow them. Obviously, there's some kids over at Gustavus and Bethany, and just all over the place. So it's hard to keep up with all of them, but it's fun to try to. So
yeah, that's one of the things that we'll be touching on from week to week is how the former Mankato players or Mankato area players are doing in the college game right now. My daughter's at Gustavus and on the softball team, and there's two other Mankato East kids on the team. One other Mankato East. No, two. One other Mankato East player, Peyton Stevenmer, and three from Mankato West, Carly Nelson and Breck Carlson and Maddie Mueller. So, and then Bethany Lutheran College, their three leading hitters right now are former Mankato East players, Sydney Jacobs, Anna Christofferson, and Haley Stockman. So, and then we have Chloe Brandt, who's got a 1.5 ERA right now for Minnesota State, trying to work her way into the pitching rotation. And there's probably some more that we'll think of down the road. So we'll touch on how those kids are doing. I guess they're ladies now. They're all in college.
I still think of them as kids.
Yeah, yeah. So quite a long history with Mankato former softball players playing college ball at all levels. So, and no different right now, and it's not going to change in the future because we got some big time recruits in Mankato right now and the surrounding areas. So.
Yeah, I think that's going to be fun too, the high school season and following those kids around. East had a heck of a year last year with state championship. West, the state champions the year before that. So certainly, I think that's part of the podcast, certainly following softball, but we're going to bring on Chris Willert Chris has got a couple kids playing in baseball locally here at Mankato East.
Yeah, he's going to be the baseball expert. I'm a softball expert. I played baseball in high school, but I've been softball ever since.
But with that, we can talk about the new collegiate league coming to town as well, and there's some players that play at the Moondogs too. So I think just as the podcast goes, we can kind of cover a little bit of everything, including some club teams around too, like your Peppers team and some of the Peppers stuff, the local club teams.
Yeah, tell me about the Portalite Peppers, the top travel team in Mankato area, sponsored by 24/7 Ball Sports.
Yeah, we partnered with our facility. We partnered with Magfa, the Peppers on that. We always felt that there was a need for a little bit more recruiting emphasis and training. And with the 24/7 Ball Sports facility, we had the facility for that. We just kind of needed to put that piece together. So we worked with Magfa to kind of come up with a partnership and agreement that we'd take the 16U team that is more recruiting focused and try to build that here in Mankato versus having kids have to leave town to go hit the recruiting trail. So with the experience of my daughter just went through the recruiting process, and some of the other people too on that team, their daughters had went through that too with the Emerys. So we've thought we'd start that and get going. We picked up a sponsor, Portalite Pitching Mounds, and they're a Minnesota company. They make the pitching mats that we use in our facility, really good, high quality products. And so it was fun to kind of put our two brands together there as well. So we've got, I think, some brand recognition that helps those kids get recognized at some of the tournaments as well.
Makes me think of another former Mankato softball player that's playing in college right now, Carly Emery at Milwaukee School of Engineering. They're about to start their season. So she was a heck of a player at Mankato West for a long time and with the Peppers. So, yeah, a good opportunity and a good option, having the Portalite option for the upper leagues, or upper levels of club softball. Yeah. I've been on the Peppers board for a long time. I'm not currently, and haven't been the last few years, but 2 different stints. And, and before my time even on the board, Peppers were really known to be dominant at all age levels of travel softball. And they still are to some extent, especially at the younger ages. We have just really good coaches at the young developmental ages. And we start them a little bit earlier than most. We have 6 and under, 7 and under, and we get them going live pitching sooner than most other programs. And we just have a lot of good assets here at Mankato, which is part of the good background. Jerry Mashka started the Peppers way back along with Gary Lunds, and it's quite a organization, and it's really led to a lot of success and happiness for a lot of young ladies. And it's really led Mankato East and Mankato West to dominate the Big Nine Conference too over the last 30-some years. I think they've won. I
used to remember what that was, all the stats behind that.
Oh, I have that, but it's East has 19 Big Nine titles and West has 15. And actually, the most in the third place, I think Austin has 9, and then now Winona has 2, and a few other teams have 1 or 2. But
definitely pretty dominant between East and West there.
Yeah. Interestingly, too, the Big Nine has been stronger in years past, at the top at least, since 2016 through 2023. The state champion has come from the Big Nine all years but one, 2021. And 2020, there wasn't a tournament, but in 2016, Mankato West won the state tournament. And 2017, it was Faribault. And 2017 was Winona, 2018, Faribault, 2019, Northfield.
Yeah, that's right.
And then no tournament in 20, and then 2022 Mankato West, and 2023 Mankato East. So that is really conference dominance, but East and West certainly lead the charge for the Big Nine. And we're going to talk about other schools, not just East and West. We're going to talk certainly about St. Clair Loyola, and then other area teams, about Lake Crystal Welcome Memorial, LeSueur Henderson, St. Peter, New Ulm, Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton. Matt, you might think of some others.
Well, one thing, Lake Crystal certainly is on that list. Most of the teams that were up at Mankato Dome Ball, so we hosted
St. James.
Yeah, St. James. We've got a Bowers on our Peppers national team, or Portalite Peppers national. Those teams, those players from there. but certainly the teams that come to Mankato Dome Ball as well, we know a little bit more about them. We see them more, so we know their players a little bit more. One thing we've done, recently is with the live streaming. Live streaming's big. It's easy to do now. So we want to do more of that and try to build more local baseball and softball teams on our channel. We give the schools the equipment that they need to do that with, and then all they have to do is get a parent to stream it, and we'll put it there. But the advantage of that is trying to get more content in one place. So that way, if you're a fan of baseball, a fan of softball, you should be able to quickly go on to one channel and be able to find a game. And last year, it was almost every day of the week there was a game on our channel. So we'd love to kind of build that content too.
That's great. I know a lot of people love to tune in when they can't get to the games and still watch some quality softball.
Yeah, and the technology's made it possible. It's really easy to do nowadays. Don't always have the best phone signal, so sometimes it's a little trashy. But
including Dome Ball. Dome Ball, you have been live streaming those games as well.
Yeah, we try to get it out there. People at home want to watch, but also kids want to go back and watch their performances and see what they did, or maybe use that footage or that clip for recruiting purposes or whatever it might be. We have a view of the overall field. So it gets a pretty good general view of it, but we try to stream and put all the content out that we can.
Yeah, I watch it myself. If I can't make it up there to watch some of the girls that I'll be coaching this summer on a 13 and under team, they're playing on either JV or varsity Dome Ball, and then we did do a 14 and under league November, December. I think that was. Yep,
we try to run the earlier age groups in November and December, and then we get into high school. Once they kind of get through their volleyball high school season, then they start thinking about other sports again. And there's only so much time at the MSU Dome, so we try to take what we can get. And January and one date in February kind of seems to fit. This year we had to spill into March. Speaking of which, we're going to host a couple high school events up at the Dome. Early scrimmages.
That was my next question.
Yeah, fire away.
Well, I was just going to say, is Dome Ball done now for the year, now that it's warming up? Or not quite?
It could be, though. It might be done. I mean, if it's 80 degrees out, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be in the Dome. And MSU's been really good to us about working with us on that too. But we did secure some Dome time, and just in case, for the weather for East and West on March 16th, the night of March 16th. So if you want to come up and watch some scrimmages, it's not, you might see more situational stuff. It's not an actual game. It's scrimmage, but the kids will be in season, practice season anyway, and be able to do that. So that'll be kind of fun. We're bringing 2 teams down from the cities to play, Rogers and I'm drawing a blank on my other team, but I think it's Osseo. Okay. But bringing in a couple from the cities that we normally wouldn't see, wouldn't play, and want to scrimmage a couple really good quality teams.
That's great. There's so many domes up there. You wouldn't think maybe that you'd get a lot of metro teams down here.
No, but the quality of softball here is great.
Yeah, that's why they want to come.
They definitely do. There's some really good teams there, both between East and West. Every year, you're going to get a competitive game. So, and get that in early is good to see what some of your kids are going to be able to do. The next weekend following that, the 23rd, we're going to host some more Dome Ball up there with Lake Crystal, St. Peter, RTR, and Maple River. They're going to scrimmage up there on the 16th. So, or not 16th, excuse me, 23rd is when they're scrimmaging. So,
well, just another great opportunity for local players to hone their skills. And one thing that it never really gets too warm for is indoor training at 24/7, because all the equipment's there. You can go any time of the day. We're called 24/7 Diamond Talk here on this podcast, but 24/7 Ball Sports. And Matt, can you tell them where that's located and how the memberships are going and how it works?
Yeah, so we started this a few years ago. Actually, COVID got us our start. There was nothing open. Mike and I really wanted to get something going. At that time, we were trying to get our daughters recruited and kind of stay in softball shape. So we just knew that there was a need in the community, and especially at that time. But so we started. We're up in the MRCI building now. And when I say MRCI, it's 1750 Energy Drive. So it's over by the Walmart Distribution Center. So they're a great partner. We're actually a nonprofit. So they're a nonprofit. So we really align with each other quite well. And so we're in their facility, and it's working great there. We've got 4 cages, 2 pitching lanes, and then we've got a lot of workout equipment, fitness equipment, strength and conditioning. And we're finding that a lot of high school players are up there. They're getting their weightlifting done after school, and then they'll jump in the cage and get their reps in, maybe throw in the mounds a little bit, whatever it might be that they want to work on. got a lot of plyo stuff too, where they'll use the plyo balls and that. But it works really great for training, and we tried to make it really affordable. So it's an individual membership. That's the way our software works. But we allow the whole family to use it. So if you've got 2 or 3 siblings, that's fine. It's for the household or for the family. And pretty low rates are on our website, either from like $55 to $70 a month, and that's unlimited use pretty much. You can everybody can reserve 1 day or 1 cage a day. The longer you commit to us, the less expensive it is, and the longer you have to, or more time you can in advance to book a cage. But it's been great to have that facility here. We've got hit tracks simulators in there, 3 of those now. So that's grown a lot. We've got some baseball pitching simulation too, some pitch technology where it's a ball flight technology, records spin rate, arm slots. It's pretty advanced. So we've tried to keep up with the technology as well.
Yeah. So I've been there, over the years, and a lot with my daughter Tegan, just hitting in the off season here, and even right before the season started for her college season. And I see a lot of baseball players up there. I see a lot of softball players. In fact, all the college softball players we mentioned have probably been there, at least the ones from Mankato for sure. And we'd like to get the word out about this for some other area kids, maybe not from Mankato, but within a short drive, just to come and check it out sometime. That family membership makes a lot of sense because you can bring a catcher with you. You can have someone load the tee for you.
Right.
That doesn't have to necessarily have a membership. And
the people in there all have to, but if it's mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, that's fine.
Okay.
But the kids certainly do. We have to have all the waivers signed. So there's that piece of it. That's just the insurance and all the leaseholders want those pieces in place. But
it's key card entry, right?
Yeah. So it's really simple. You get a key card and you can key card in and out. You can just show up if you want and take your chances and see if a lane's open, or you can reserve it online. Either way. But if it's reserved, you can move over to the next cage or whatever it might be. We've seemed to have a lot of space here right before tryouts. It's crazy here. So they just had MABA tryouts this last weekend, and our facility was pretty much booked from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night, Monday through Thursday for sure. Yeah. And then Saturday and Sunday was pretty busy too. But now that that's over, it does tend to wane. We can already see our schedule open up quite a bit. So
we still got Pepper's tryouts coming up for the younger ages, and then we got high school tryouts for some of the middle school kids.
Yeah, that's coming next week, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, middle of March usually. Yeah.
So coming pretty soon, but there'll be plenty of space up there. Usually everybody can come and get in, and everybody's pretty cool about making room and making space, and so it's been good in that regard. But
well, another of the topics we're going to cover weekly is the upcoming schedule, what happened in the past week in big games, local teams, of the local teams that are involved in softball and baseball, hopefully when Chris is here. You mentioned Portalite Peppers, or we talked about them a little while in the little while ago. Matt, do you envision ever a club baseball team out of 24/7?
Maybe. I mean, that's not really one of our focuses or one of our goals. If someone wanted to do that, we'd be all for it. That's fine. We really want to be a support mechanism for the local organization.
Yeah,
so
MABA is a great organization as well as MAGFA. So
yeah, my son is part of MABA there, and I help coach there. But so if we can support them, and if it made sense, and again, we wouldn't want to do anything to I don't know. We don't get into the politics, I guess, of that stuff. But if it's something we can do and we can support, we're certainly going to do that. But
if there's a need for it.
If there's a need and it makes sense, then Mike and I don't have to run it. Right now we've got, our plates are pretty full, just with home life and work life and those sorts of things. But if it made sense, we would do that. But certainly on the softball side, it made a lot of sense, and MAGFA agreed with us there. We've had interest in the past, I think, on club, but it's harder with baseball though, because baseball in Minnesota is different than softball in that it still abides by that territory. Remember back in the days where you had to be from your school district or your area, and baseball is a lot that way.
Yeah, because of bigger numbers.
It is, yeah, and it makes sense too. You get into the Legion side then, and then you've got some really competitive ball, and there's not as much a need for, at least in my opinion, for the club baseball. But if you're from a small town, there might be more need, for that club baseball scene, because you just can't form a team or maybe a competitive team in a smaller town. So I think that's probably where it makes more sense. But Mankato, maybe does a pretty good job of filling that need.
All right. What about lessons up there? And I know a little bit about it. I had another older daughter that has given some lessons up there. My daughter Tori, former Maverick player, she's down in Des Moines right now in grad school. But when she's back, she had given some lessons. But how does that work? Like, I know you have Megan Christopher there, who's
She's great.
Tremendous instructor.
Yeah.
Known her for many years, and she's high quality.
We've done some lessons up there, and Megan certainly is always done her own thing. We just had the facility, so it just makes sense for her to come use our facility and kind of run her lesson business out of there. So that's kind of how that goes. We provide the software, we provide the cages, we provide the facility, we provide everything, the transaction, everything to happen for an instructor to come up and do lessons at our place. We don't necessarily hire that person directly. They're a contracted employee, so they can come in and do that.
So if a listener or watcher of this podcast is thinking about getting their son or daughter, I guess, some lessons, would they contact her directly and then she would reserve it? Or
yeah, that typically does work best.
Yeah.
Or now Megan is kind of at the point where she's got a lot of lessons, and you might just be able to look on our schedule. If you're registered and in our schedule and can get in there and look, you can probably book something. But it does probably make sense to contact her directly. On the baseball side, we're getting more and more instructors there. I'm stretched a little thin, so it's harder. But we've brought Riley Pfiffner is his name. He's in St. Peter, and there's some Bethany kids. Trent does some pitching, so we have some options also on the baseball side. Just haven't had as many, I'll say, consistent instructors. Megan's been doing lessons for, 15 years plus, maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
And she does a great job of it, and she's got a pretty good client list there too. So we'd like to build that. I think there's a need here in our community for more baseball, softball. So we're looking for instructors, I guess I would say, that want to take the ball and run with it. And that's what it really takes, I think, at our facility to do that. We're more about the facility side, providing everything that the instructor needs to do their own, run their own business out of our facility. That's what we want to provide.
And you do get some current college baseball players in there. I see the Bethany kids all the time up there working out. And they do have a tremendous new facility at Bethany as well, a new field house. But talk about the difference on what you can offer compared to that even. I mean, that's a big
flexibility is the biggest thing. With our place open 24/7, a lot of those kids are night owls. I mean, you can see even some of the high school kids are up there late, and they just like that. They like that option. Maybe they're doing schoolwork or school activities or just messing around with friends and just want to go later. And I find that our college members either come during the day when it's empty, or they'll come at night when it's late and kind of do their own thing. But it's been, I think flexibility is the biggest thing, where some of the facilities aren't as flexible. If you're at the college, you've got practice, but you might also want to just get out of facility. You're there and you don't want to be, if you're working on something specific and maybe you don't want to do that in front of coaches or teammates or whatever, and just clear your head. It's a good place to kind of go do that too.
So Pepper's organization, or the MAGFA, they have the Little Peppers, and they go down to six and under. And it's been a successful program over the years. Do you see that age of player in there?
Not so much. I think they catch the bug. So once they start hitting the travel teams, that's kind of when they start to come out of facility.
You want to make sure it's a sport for them. You know, so.
Right. I mean, it still is an investment. If you ask Mike and I, it's pretty low investment, and I think most people would agree. It's pretty low cost when you compare to what a cage really runs a rental anymore, especially just over the last couple of years. Cage rentals have went up a lot in the cities in that area. So if you look at what we have to offer there, it's pretty low cost. Some of our members also can turn it into insurance. So they've been able to go to insurance companies and get a refund back because we do have all the health equipment too.
I'm having some IV level hydration here from Hoist, one of our partners in a 24/7.
So what does IV level mean? I was looking at that and I didn't know what that meant.
I mean, it hydrates you better than water, I guess.
Like electrolytes?
Yeah, a lot of electrolytes, high in electrolytes for sure. And, low in the bad stuff and high in the good stuff. So
that orange, I like that orange flavor.
Yeah. There's several flavors of this Hoist. I know Cub Groceries are selling it right now, and several other retailers, but it's a growing brand. It's the official energy drink, not energy drink, but hydration drink of the military, U.S. military.
Oh, really?
For everyday warriors. Yeah. So it's great for athletes as well. So it's got some good stats in there, and better for you than some other products that are maybe more well known.
We've had a lot of kids at our facility, and we had some samples, and they've tried it, and they all like it. We've tried a lot of different things.
BioSteel is another good one you've had. That's got the weird packaging though, the Tetra Pak.
Yeah, it's the cardboard, or what do they?
Yeah. So that's a good one too. But just some other options, trying to stay top of the beverage world up there at 24/7 Sports, and have the Portalite Peppers bringing this stuff to tournaments. So.
They love that stuff too.
Yeah.
And I mean, the day and age of NIL, it is pretty cool to learn that. And I think, just in my opinion, when we partnered with Portalite, I looked at it as a learning opportunity too for our kids. That you're not just representing yourself, representing a team, the team organization, but also a manufacturer or another national brand. And I think that's a learning experience too when you get into whatever it is after life, or after softball life or whatever it might be. But those are things that you've got to take with you as a life lesson.
Yeah.
How do I represent my company? So I just thought that was pretty cool, and I try to push that onto the kids, right away, and the parents, that you're representing more than just the team, but another brand wants to align with you, and I think that's kind of cool. So the hoist stuff and bringing those in, I think it's also just learning opportunities for our kids to look at that and what marketing is, what it means, and generally how business works. So
there's some similar things to NIL that may come to life here in club sports at the higher levels down the road, I would imagine.
Yeah. My daughter does a lot of NIL things. There's a lot of them out there at Easton. She's got some NIL deal through Easton, but they're really simple. But again, they're great learning experiences. So kids get to get in that transaction and learn what that's like. It might not be a Caitlin Clark, with a State Farm or Farmers Insurance or whatever it is deal, but it's somewhere where you're getting exposed to that, and that's what you're going to do after college.
Yeah. Another thing we forgot to mention, one of the ideas for this particular podcast is we probably won't have the kids on here, the actual youth players on the podcast or whatever, but we may talk about them and some of the better players, because Matt, can you talk about an option that you do have for your kids to get interviewed and be on?
Yeah. So we've done, Ashley Hanley's done a lot of game calling for us. We wanted to add another level. If we could, just try to improve incrementally as much as we can on the budgets that we've got to do the live stream. So Ashley came in, and we want to also publicize the kids and our members and put that out there. I think it's fun. Really, it's about just trying to have fun with it. There's not much more behind it besides that, is just promoting it and promoting the kids and their achievements. And so we want to do more of that. So Ashley does a lot of the interviews, and she's done a lot of those for Ball Sports and member interviews, and just maybe interviews over the off season with these kids and what they're up to and what they're doing. So we want to continue doing that. And in this podcast, I think we'll just maybe, since it is so late, a lot of times when we're talking about this, is maybe just give us an opportunity to talk about everybody in general.
Yeah. We'll have adult coaches come in here, high school coaches or travel team coaches. Those will be some of our guests down the road. Your Portalite coach, maybe Grace, will come in. And,
should have mentioned Grace too. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have a lot of those things to talk about too, but I really want to, hopefully we can get this and just have fun with it and promote the kids and promote baseball and softball in Southern Minnesota.
Yeah. We'll do some previews of the teams. Yeah. Matt mentioned East and West earlier. We talked a little bit about them. Both, should have a good team again this year. East, obviously the defending state champs, 25-3 last year, ended up QRF #1 in the state. We went 7-1 in the playoffs and had a 10-run rule win in the state championship. So
that's
hard to improve on that, but they got a lot
impressive.
of talent coming back.
Yeah.
And West, basically 17-6, but 3 losses to East, and the first 2 were only by 1 run or 2 runs. One was 1 run, one was 2 runs. And then East got them pretty big in the section finals. So they're always a threat. East people know that for sure. So they're always a threat. And then in the Big Nine, Otana is the other contender, I think, this year. Winona's probably going to be down for once. They've been strong for about 7-8 years there. They got great coaching. And then in the section, Section 2, 3A, where East and West play, New Ulm is a new threat this year. They got bumped up from AA to AAA.
Yeah.
And they're loaded with juniors this year that are really
As if
tough.
their section wasn't tough enough last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough, both that section they were in last year, that was 2AA.
Yep.
With
Yeah,
St.
LeSueur won
James,
it.
LeSueur, Belle Plaine.
It was unbelievable. Lake
Fairmont.
Crystal. Yeah, Fairmont girl. She's Division 1.
Yeah.
This year in Section 2A, I think could be finally Lake Crystal's year potentially.
Lake Crystal.
You never want to write off LeSueur Henderson. They just have great coaching over there and a great program. And Belle Plaine as well may have one of the best pitchers coming back in the section. So Lake Crystal, Belle Plaine, never count out LeSueur. You got that great pitcher in St. James. I mean, that's going to be a tough section as well. We'll talk about maybe Class A section next time we meet here and talk about some other
there's some
other teams.
We have some good ballers there too. Mariah Anderson down at USC in Wells there. She's an outstanding pitcher. She's pitched great for Portalite Peppers. She's certainly on the map. I think she had 500 strikeouts before she was even in high school.
Wow. Speaking of that, Nicollet won the state tournament a couple years ago, and Mara Hulke, she's another player at Gustavus. So.
Yep.
Coley Reese, the head coach over there, has got a lot of locals. And Dan Nessler up at Bethany's got a lot of local kids as well. And Minnesota State University with Lori Meyer up there, they always have some locals too, it seems like, because there's just a lot of good homegrown talent here.
Yeah. Mankato's the right size for that. I think certainly drawing here and the surrounding communities, but you're kind of on an island, I always thought, down here, away from the cities, away from... There's so many clubs up there.
There's so many assets here, though.
There is,
with those colleges and the facilities that we have, and the state tournaments in here every year, and the Peppers Classic, and just we have more fast pitch only fields, and I don't know how many are in the state, but we have 9 of them in Mankato, fast pitch only, not slow pitch, not baseball. So
and now a new championship turf field.
Yeah,
it's pretty great. Oh, and the Habaneros obviously is going to be an addition to that too. So it's been great. We've had Olympic softball here before. Hopefully we can keep promoting softball and baseball here in Mankato.
All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap up our first episode of 24/7 Diamond Talk, and we'll see you next week.